My wife and stepson are in Guatemala, and I'm doing dishes for the first time in a week. I'm going to show you something. This is chili from chili burritos I made. So I might be making noise while I'm standing here. I just thought I'd go ahead and record while I was thinking about it. I want to go ahead and get into this bank run thing. I'm going to ask you if you'll hit the like button. You may like something in here, just go ahead and hit the like button, and you can subscribe if you want. The thing is I say some stuff, and sometimes it's right, and sometimes it's just me speaking what's on everybody's mind, and so it's I'm not trying to be right or anything. I'm just trying to make sense of it in my head, and then maybe say some of the things I'm seeing. And if you're seeing the same thing, we're not alone out there, for one thing. But I like to go ahead and I think the bank runs. Let's just talk about that for a second. I think Powell is going to be doing a lot of dancing coming up, and it's going to be some silly dancing. It's going to be doing one thing here, one thing there, and trying to fix it. What I mean by that is, for instance, if you look at just this incident alone, if you look what happened, they caused it when they printed a lot of money. So now he goes back and they've created inflation. So now he goes back and he starts raising interest rates to pull money out of the system. But at the same time, they're still giving, sorry, I'm dipping. At the same time, they're still giving money out to the American people. They're still giving money out to Ukraine. They're putting that US dollar out in the economy. And it's fiat cash. You've heard that phrase before. That's where nothing's attached to it. It's just paper. And so what usually happens with that is that there's money that has nothing attached to it, like gold where there's a certain amount, or Bitcoin there's a certain amount, or something that has a certain amount. Then it can be printed to infinity. It can just to whatever, and they can raise a debt ceiling up to cover up their mistakes. They can. It's on a whole system that they created a long time ago. So everything's a cover up to keep the system propped up. So what he does is they've created this inflation. So then they go and they say, we got some tools, and they do the interest rate thing. Then they hike it up so much that it causes this. And then they put more money in. They do the bailout thing, the preemptive bailout or whatever. So now the stuff that they so-called wanted to cause, well, they pull money out of the system, they say there's a situation, but they ended up causing it. So now they put that money back in the system, but what they did was they froze the banks. As the bank stocks are crashing and everybody's seeing they're going down, they froze it. So while they froze it, they set up this fund and everything, so the banks that are having trouble can just go to it and get it, and they start the stocks back up. So they froze the stocks, and then they put up the bailout and everything, and a preemptive bailout, I like to call it. And then they let all these banks, borrow from it and everything, and they started the stocks back up. So meanwhile, we're out here, we see the banks are failing, we see the stock market propped up, or that's the phrase they're using. And they put out there was a news article about them wanting to censor people on Twitter and other social media sites from saying bank run, because they were saying they were causing the bank runs. But so they don't want us talking about it. That's why I was saying hit the like, because it'd be good if we could communicate somehow and say, hey, this is what we're seeing, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. If they're doing right, then they do right. But we didn't cause inflation. We didn't cause the 12-point interest rate causing this havoc. We're just looking at what they're doing. They're the people that are supposed to be money minded, right? And so you have a lot of these YouTube videos you see at the top level, they're saying almost the same thing I'm saying, but they're high at the top level, and that's part of the system, sort of, so to say. It's like they let so much get through on these social media sites, these tech sites, because economy falling, going through cycles is supposed to be normal, but technically it's not. Like if you didn't have these people telling you that it's normal and saying all this stuff, and you put your $1,000, your $200, I'm talking people like me making between $30,000 and $45,000, and you may make the same money, and you may have saved up a whole lot. I know my wife has a lot more savings than I do, but let's say you put, or we're not putting $250,000. A lot of people, some people are, but some people may be working in plants and have their 401ks really high and stuff, and I get it, but a lot of people aren't. But so if, let's say, you're not hearing all this, cycles are normal, it's okay, they're supposed to bail them out, these cycles happen every 50 years or 40 years or something. You don't hear that stuff from these naysayers. At the same time, they're trying to sell you gold, silver, and Bitcoin, so you don't hear that, right? So you have your money in there, then when they fail, you're firing those people. You're not doing that anymore. You've learned your lesson, but these people have us thinking that it's so normal that they just rake things up 12% and they just throw billions and trillions of dollars at it. But the reason is because when they went on this system, the so-called fiat system where nothing's attached to it, the dollar has only pretty much one way to go. It may take 10 years, it may take 1,000 years or whatever, but it's going to zero. But they have to prop that up as long as they can. So these cycles are normal and stuff like that is based off that. The 70s, the Black Monday, Black Friday or whatever, 2008, it's based off crookedness, and they prop up that crookedness. And they all have a piece in it. So Powell saying he has these tools to do stuff, but then when it comes to doing it, they create new tools instead of using the old tools. And I'm quoting somebody on that, but it made sense. It's like, why not use the tools or what you went to school for and apply that? I know that's what interest rates are and all that stuff, but I'm talking about don't create the inflation in the first place, So anything they dabble in is there's going to be something on the other end of that, especially some kind of a new tool or something they use. And it's the laws of physics, the laws of gravity, the laws of messing with something. You create something new down the line, especially like in home building or something. You have something off over here and you tweak it or do something here, 200 feet later, it's going to show up. And so if you don't go by the fundamentals, and that's what they pretend they're doing. That's what they pretend the tools they have are the fundamentals. But they did away with the fundamentals of an economy a long time ago. So that's what I'm saying back earlier when we first opened up, Powell's going to do a lot of dancing. And the thing is it may be censored where we don't see all the dancing because we can't communicate. They'll have a hashtag bank run, don't do that. Hashtag economy collapse, don't do that. But some of the regular people that are already there, nothing against them, their videos may be hitting at the top, but they're part of the already built-in system. I'm not saying a system like it's just the norm to have a negative. They don't want anything. What am I saying? They don't want anything out of the norm to begin pinpointing certain things on this. Like if sort of like, I guess, go back to that news article I mentioned where I read where they were talking about censoring everybody. And From what I'm gathering, they are, because I'll hit those hashtags and I just see the same 10 videos, and I can keep scrolling and I'll see those same 10 people. I don't see anybody new. There was a video that yesterday I was watching. It said it had been up 22 hours, but 6 hours before that I never saw it. 20 hours before that I never saw it. You know, that night before that I didn't see it. So there is something going on there. So the thing is, we should be able to communicate. We should be able to pinpoint it. It's all right as people. It's all right as people that give them our money, as citizens of America or whatever country you're in. It's your right to know what they're doing to curb this. And going back to Powell doing dancing, is that they may have went too far with a fiat currency. You see what I'm saying? As far as the currency already had its built-in mechanism of being a downward spiral. And years before this, before 2023, March 2023, you already had the printing of money, even before COVID. And I'm sorry I said that word. That may be censored too. But even before that, so 2008 has been propped up pretty much. So you have so much money out there, and their 12% hike did do something, because those banks were going off that 0%. So it did take money out, but it took money out of previous investments. What I mean by that is they took somebody's $100 and they put that $100 on a bond or something that was getting 2%, and it was at 0%. So they were getting that 2, sharing the 2 or whatever. Then all of a sudden the Fed put 12% on it. So the 2% was, here's the 0, the 2's here. So that 12, in layman's terms, I'm guessing this is how it is. If it ain't, that 2% went down -10, you know. So where it was at $100 is now it's $90. So they weren't getting 102, they're just now getting the 90. So now they're down 10% of whatever the cost was. So that did something to them at that point. So now they're putting all this money back in that supposedly they took out. You see what I'm saying? They're not doing nothing to the economy. It's a runaway train. It's a runaway train. I think there's a song for that. But yeah, so that goes back to a video I was talking about when SVB went down and all that. I was kind of worried that this may just be the tip of the iceberg, because lots of times doing, construction, doing installations and things like that. And I still got a lot of growth because I worked in a factory as a photojournalist, but I've had to adapt to new jobs, because of the economy or technology taking out. I used to develop my own pictures, for the newspaper. Then digital came out. I put the cameras out to the reporters and that, and it's just, I had to learn a new skill set. But so when you're taking a hammer and beating some old wood or beating some wood, the first thing that starts coming off is those chips of paint, something cheap. And then eventually, if the wood ain't strong enough, it crumbles. So like the bank system now, it's not built on fundamentals or anything. And so the first thing to go is that frivolous, not Bitcoin, but little cryptos or whatever, crypto banks and risky assets like our investments, like the tech industry, the ones that are censoring people. It's crazy. And there's so many roads you're not even like what is the government digital currency they're coming out with? The first banks to go, digital currency banks. Are the Fed going to get in there and use that for their digital currency? Do I need to invest in those banks? Do I need to invest in, it's so many wild things because you don't know where it can go. Because if you look when they took gold off the dollar, things went different that way, You look back when I think there was a country in Africa or something that was doing glass beads, and you look at when Europe started making these glass beads cheap, and they started bringing it in, and it caused Africa to have the bees weren't worth anything anymore. So what currency did they go to? If you look at, so you don't know this dollar, if Powell's going to do a lot of dancing because the dollar's already going down and he ain't going to be able to save it. So he's going to try all kinds of different stuff. Like I said, we may not hear about it, but if it doesn't work and it does go down, then what's going to be the new currency? You know, Bitcoin, gold, silver, you know, things like that. And it's always good to invest in tangibles. So I think that's where I'm going to refocus some stuff, is into the tangible things. I don't have enough to get land or anything. I mean, we could probably, but I've started paying my tithes in church, so that takes a chunk, and I'm gladly doing that. And I can find money to do that. I can find money for the other stuff. Oh yeah, and anyway, so that, I think that comes to a close. Is I think Powell's going to do a lot of dancing. Earlier I clipped the video because the sink stopped up. I got to get a garbage disposal, and I forgot I was supposed to do that and install that. I got an electrician coming because it's something I can't do. But I had stopped the sink up, so I had to get the plunger, and I didn't think y'all wanted to see all that. And then I stopped that little dipping thing I did. I didn't think y'all wanted to see that, especially you Northerners. You know, people in the South probably don't mind it so much. But, and I'm not going to smoke on video or nothing. But anyway, we all got our bad habits. Sometimes that's something I got to quit. But that's all. I just wanted to share that with you. And if you'll hit the like button, not to make it a popular video or anything, but just maybe somebody else has these thoughts too, and things like that. And you know, and I hate thinking negative. So I hate to see inflation keep going though. It'd be nice if inflation stopped and we can invest in these banks, and then the bank stocks go back up. So it's hard to say, do I want to put my $20? But you look at the bank stock, it went from like 200, well, just recently 120 something or something, to $20, $39, 36, $14 bank stocks went to $2, and $15 ones went to $1 something. But you just don't know what to do right now, and that's the risk of investment. And one more thing. I don't mind them. I guess, you know, bailouts are bailouts, but like, these people did lose a lot of money, and I don't want to see anybody lose their job and anything like that. But I know when we were growing up, well, you know, my parents went through divorce and everything, and my mom had to work, had 3 children and that, but no one, I mean, she got on food stamps, I think welfare too. I remember getting cheese, you know, and all that stuff. I mean, those things serve their purpose to get people back on their feet and that, but we didn't get 250,000. We didn't get 5,000, 6,000, you know. People made some bad choices, and having some of these places rule the roost. And my mom went to nursing school and became a nurse and everything. But it's just, you know, I got my faults too. But it just seems like too much is too much. That's propping their investors up, propping their voters up. It's just, you know, you don't know what to say. But anyway, that's that. Any comments will be appreciated. And sharing or whatever. Don't even share it. Just watch it and chill out. And, you know, nothing really I said. And hopefully there's some stuff you were thinking too, or wondering. I'm going to let you go now because I'm rambling. But look at, I showed you that earlier. Look at that Sasquatch. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I don't know where I got this hat at. The ticket's gone. Let's see. George, TM. And no, I don't do anything like that. It's just a cool hat. My wife saw it, and if y'all saw that and go, where do you get that Sasquatch hat? But all right, thank y'all. Bye-bye.